Hi guys, welcome back to our. Oh, I was gonna say welcome back to our channel, but welcome back to our podcast.
Well, technically, it is our channel because,
It is our channel for our podcast. Welcome back to the No Sass Chismosa podcast with your host Jenny
and Marie.
Welcome
Maybe I
welcome
should
back.
hide this because we're not being sponsored by Kim and Jack.
You can turn it around.
No, thank you. You don't know what drink this is, even though I just said it.
So, like you guys already know, we're very different as our hair, and ours are choice of drinks.
This is literally a good representation of us.
Literally, I'm a beer girly. What is that?
And I'm always gonna be a cocktail
Margarita girl.
Margaritas is the way to go.
I do not like margaritas. I do not get the point of them.
Me and him love margaritas.
I don't get it. Like, it's just like sugary drink. I feel like
I always okay, this is my thing too though. I do not like a sweet margarita. I like a margarita more on the tart side. So when a margarita is really sweet, I will not want to drink it. I like more tart sour drinks. Even the beers when we've gone to a brewery, I've liked more of the sour ones.
Well, yeah, representation of us. But welcome back to our channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, exciting day, week, whenever you guys
We're
are watching
recording this on Easter. Jesus has risen.
Sorry. Yes, but whenever you guys are watching this,
I hope you guys had a good weekend.
Good Easter. But today's episode, as we've previously promised,
on every single episode,
this is our very special episode. Something very close to us, something very personal to us, and something I don't know how to say that word.
Vulnerable.
Yes, that.
What word are you trying to say?
We're gonna talk about us being on DACA, and DACA stands for
Deferred Action of Childhood Rights.
Yes, and if you guys hear the honking outside, it's just neighbors.
Our neighbors being crazy, like always.
We're not gonna sing them with that, remember? Because
everyone's neighbors are crazy.
We're crazy sometimes. But anyway, yeah. Today is our episode about DACA. It's something very, very close to us. We're both on it. We're very blessed to be on it. I think. When did it come out?
It was through Obama's presidency. So
it was through Obama's presidency.
Did I say residency?
No,
sorry.
President. Okay. Did you say?
I meant presidency if I said residency. Sorry.
Well, it was during Obama's presidency, and
June 15, 2012. Wow.
2012.
So we're coming. So it's been 10 years?
Yes, it's crazy, huh? 2012.
Oh
so then
God.
I think I got it. That makes it. Yeah.
They began accepting applications August 2012.
Yeah, so I think I didn't get it until 2013.
Yeah, because they did do the first round.
And then I think I was when it was still really brand new. So I think I did mine in 2013. And
guys, I'm scared.
It was in 2013, and this is such a serious episode, but I don't know why we're laughing.
Kind of serious. So I'm sure it'll go more serious. But...
Yeah. So I got mine in 2013. I believe I was a junior. And I think we're gonna touch our own experience, but at least for me, when I got it, I was a junior, and I remember I always knew we were illegal,
Yeah, I think so.
I always knew I was, but I didn't really know what that meant. I guess what I'm trying to say.
We knew that we weren't allowed to do certain things, but we didn't know the whole
what
picture,
we weren't allowed to do.
Grand scope of things. Yeah.
I knew we couldn't travel certain places. So then it was my junior year, and everybody started working, being employed, whatever. And the thing to do was to work at the OC fair. So then I remember one of my friends applied to the OC fair, and she was like, "Oh, you want to work there? Come with me. I know somebody, and they'll hire us." So I was like, "Perfect. What do I need?" And she's like, "Just fill out your application, and you need to take your social security card." So I was like, "Okay, perfect, right? I'll just tell my mom."
She has everything.
You got my social security card? She's like, "What are you talking about? You don't have that."
Babes, I hate to break the news, but you ain't got one of those.
And so I was taken back and I was like, wait, what do you mean I don't have that?
Yeah.
And then like she kind of explained it to me and I think I felt kind of like dumb because I was like, oh, like
I should have known.
I should have known.
Yeah.
And then like I just told my friend like, oh, I didn't tell her why. I was just like, oh no, I don't think I can work this weekend. We're gonna go on vacation. You know, like some dumb excuse. I think
Yeah.
also like going back
At
to
the
the thing,
time, yeah.
yeah, at the time, going back to the things we've previously said, like being Mexican, being Latino wasn't such like a mainstream thing.
Because now it's like so cool to be Latino. It's so cool, you know? And
And not just, I think before it was kind of like, don't tell nobody that you're not from here.
yeah, or
Like,
just simply even like being proud of being an immigrant or being coming from like an immigrant or migrant family. I think it was very much like looked down upon, and like there were certain biases that people had. I mean, there are people today that still do, but not as much anymore. And I feel like there's a lot more support and
it's like a known
community
thing.
with
Like
it.
every influencer now is coming out and saying like, I have DACA. People
Which
that
is like
you,
so surprising, and like I didn't know that some of them did.
not saying that you have to look a certain way or whatever, but it's also like, oh, why didn't you say this sooner? Like there's so many of us that followed
Mm-hmm.
you and respected you. Like, you know how much we would have felt seen if you would have
But I
came out
also
and said
think
it.
that if you look at it from like us, like the way that even we
Yeah,
think and feel, I think it's kind of like, oh, I understand why you didn't do it, because I also kind of felt
true,
like
yeah.
that way at some point. And now I think that because right, you see someone else talking about it, and you're like, oh, maybe it's not too bad. And like by talking about it,
And it's not bad.
it's like advocating and
Mm-hmm.
just adding more fuel to the conversation, I think.
Yeah, so then that was my experience. Like, I just didn't realize until then. I remember even when my dad came up to me and he's like, okay, you're taking school off. We're going to go do, because it's a process. I
Yeah,
think
it's
also,
not just
yeah,
like
I think people think it's like signing up and you're like, okay, cool, got it. No, like you have to go do fingerprints. Like, especially if you're underage, like your parents have to go with you, you know,
mm-hmm.
like we had to go to the Mexican consulate
Yeah,
to get
our
our passport.
passports, and then also like I don't remember what, but it was like a form we had to fill out
Mm-hmm.
basically.
We had to get like a birth certificate, all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. We had to go do fingerprints. Like
Mm-hmm.
you need to make appointments for all this, so
Yeah.
that means time, right? So
Yeah.
fingerprints, and it's not like thick. It's like literally like
All
all
yeah,
sides of your
and then
fingers. Like I'm telling you, like you take a picture of you, and
yeah.
not just that, but also the fees of the actual application,
Mm-hmm.
plus the fee if you're gonna have somebody help you do it.
Like
You
someone
know,
file it for
file
you.
it for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it is
It is
some
quite,
money,
yeah,
yeah, and
pricey.
it's time
Like
and
I
all that.
saw that right now. I believe the application last year was 495, but I think it's I don't know if it varies by state or what, but I saw that it could go up to like 55 555 or 650. So it can vary from 495 to 650 plus
Your
like
fee,
your fees of the like either lawyer or anyone who's going to be filing that, and that
notary,
can be like 200, and then maybe even other random fees that you
and
still
I
have to do.
and I
Oh, and
know that.
because also the first time that you do it, you do have to pay like, because a lot of the time DACA is for children who were brought over here, and it depends what year you were brought
Yeah,
over,
yeah, yeah.
and you have to pay a like a penalization fee basically for coming here illegally, even though we were kids and we didn't even know what was happening. Like we still had to pay that, and that's only for the first time that you apply. Like you're basically signing like saying that I did something wrong,
Yeah.
and even though like you didn't even know at the time, so
So it's
yeah,
all that, and then
it adds
it
up.
is it is a work permit,
Yeah,
so meaning you can use it for work. I mean, you can also use it for school, so it won't count you as an out of state student,
or out of the
out of
country.
the
Yeah,
country, but it will count you.
international student,
But it will count you like
like a
but they do
like a
like
resident.
not really, because you when you file for your financial aid, you won't get as much money as a citizen
No,
would.
that's what I'm saying. The
But yeah,
resident is like
yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah.
live here, but you weren't
Yeah,
born
like
here.
you won't get like money like that. I'm
Hmm.
telling you guys from my own experience. Like, well, let me just start from the beginning. I guess like I didn't know. I did know that I was illegal, but I didn't know that I couldn't work, you know. So then I didn't apply then. I remember my dad was like, "We're gonna go do this," and I think growing up Mexican, they always, especially back then, I don't think as much now, but back then it was very like it was very kind of looked down upon. So back then it was very like, oh, la migra is gonna come get you. You have to be aware for the migra
Yes.
and the migra all the time, you know.
Yeah.
So when it was my dad, right? He's like, we're gonna go do this. There's an opportunity for you to get a social security number, so you can at least work, right? And I think back then I didn't understand the luxury of working,
Yeah.
the luxury of being able to work here in the United States. So then I was like, no, like they're gonna have all my information, they're gonna have my fingerprints, my name, everything. They know where to find me, dude.
And that was like this, I think that that was like a very scary thing, you know, because you are willingly giving the
Your personal
government like
information,
they can literally know where you
track you
are
down,
and they have your fingerprints and everything. So I think that that is scary, especially as a
especially
community that
yeah.
is like, you know, we're threatened by that all the time.
Yeah. So then I think back then I was just like, no, like I don't want to do that. Like, and the first thing I said, I'm like, out of all the people signing up, what makes you think they're gonna give it to me? My dad has never hit us like that, you know. So then I just remember him smacking me like in the back of like on my back. He was just like, don't ever
Yeah.
talk like that again in your life. Like, don't
He
ever
tried to
be
knock
negative.
some sense into
Yeah,
her.
he's like, don't ever talk like that. What do you mean out of everybody? Don't think like that and don't
Huh.
say things like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, like what the heck? And so then whatever, I had to take a day off from school. I went to the consulate. Dude, was there for like 4 hours,
Yeah.
sitting down waiting. And then after like I went to the lady and then she's like, you need a parent. I'm like, my dad's right here with me. She's like, that's not your dad. That looks like your brother.
Oh yeah, and then like that's the
And
thing,
they
like
made
my
it like a big deal, right?
yeah,
That's just my personal experience.
because my dad, I mean, I think he still looks pretty young, like, but even when he was like younger, 10 years ago,
Yeah.
everyone would always think he was our brother, like our older
Yeah.
brother. So that was always a
And
thing.
then I was just like so confused because I was already scared. Why?
Yeah.
Because as a community, they nos meten ese miedo, like,
Hmm.
oh, like you should be scared of like authority, you should be scared of police, you should be scared of all these places, you know.
Yeah, because you just hear stories on the news all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like even like that famous actress who was on Orange is the New Black, how like she said that literally one day she came home from school, I think, and like her parents had been
Oh
deported.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know, like,
yeah.
and so how could you not be scared, I think.
So then I was like, that's my dad, and my dad showed his ID, and it's like, well, I'm her dad, like, you know. And I think after my dad kind of like with a firm voice was like, okay, so then what do you want us to do? She was like, oh, you know, I apologize, she just looked young. She tried to turn it around. After that, we went to get our papers, whatever. And I'm like, oh, by the time they give it to me and approve me, right, dude, it was weeks. Like they approved me. I think I don't know, a lot of us applied at the same time, and I was one of
Hmm.
the first ones to get it. And after that, it's just every 2 years you are good
It's
to have
valid for
it
two
for two
years
years, yeah,
yeah,
and then you have to
renew it,
renew it.
but you always want to renew it a few. So the rule that always was before was you always kind of want to do it like 3 months in advance, because the process does take a while. So they have to process your papers and then they send you a letter that says we've accepted your application. Now you just have to wait again for your fingerprints, so your diagnostics basically,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to wait for that letter with the appointment. And they tell you where you're gonna go, and then once you get that paper, you go get your do your appointment, and then you wait again, and then you wait for them to send you your approval letter, and then after the approval letter, you have to wait a little bit more for
For
your
your actual
actual physical
card.
card.
Yeah. So it is the whole process, and I honestly have come across people that do not understand the anxiety that you get
Yeah.
when it's time to renew, right? Because they're like, you already have it. And not just that, we have to keep a clean record. On
Hmm.
my personal like opinion, like I always knew that. I always knew like you have to be careful. You can't be getting a DUI. You can't be getting nothing on your record, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
It's because they will take it away. I know people on my like on a personal level that have lost it because they've done things that they shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah.
So like if you guys I'm pretty sure a lot of people who have migrant, right? Migrant, immigrant,
Yeah, immigrant or migrant families.
Parents know that their jobs aren't the best. You know, they are over here doing laborious work,
It's a
dude,
lot of physical hard work.
for minimum wage.
Sometimes
And
even way less than
way, yeah. So
minimum
then
wage.
I think for us, it's like having this work permit means we're even able to just get minimum wage, you know, which
Yep.
is a lot. And I know a lot of people don't realize that, especially people that have like a good social security number, that have that luxury of just being like, I don't want to work, let me request what is it called,
Unemployment.
let me request unemployment, like it's nothing, you know. Like I don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
Like I don't have that luxury to just be like, yeah, let me just
I'm just gonna take a sabbatical and like do
yeah.
unemployment. Like that's unfortunately something. I mean, in some ways, I think it is kind of like fortunate because it really does, like they say, it lights a fire under your ass, right? So, and I hope that that fire always stays lit under my ass because, you know, I don't know. It just I don't think people do understand like the privilege of work and being able to work.
So I think like even me when I started working, so I started working, my very first job was McDonald's. I was there for 6 months, and then I started working at a private bank. In that private bank, the schedule was 9 to 9 in the night, 12-hour shifts, baby girl.
Every single kind of.
And you had Saturdays optional, which was for 6 hours, and I would always do four. So that means I had Sunday off, my only day, right? I was going to school the first year and I couldn't do it anymore. And then when I applied for financial aid, all they gave me was $1,000. When I saw the amount of money compared to everybody else, well, let's just backtrack a little bit. When I applied to college, I remember everybody doing their application, whatever, you know, and their amount was $0. For some reason, mine was like $6,000, and then I was like how am I gonna, I never ever in my high school days asked my parents for money. Like if I ever had money, it's because it was birthday money or because I was genuinely like, can I just have $5? Or my dad would randomly give us just like $5, so I would save all that, right? And so I'm like, how am I gonna ask my parents for $6,000 for school? You know, like that's crazy. And so then I remember I was like, everybody's like, oh, like, but we did the same thing. Why is yours coming to that? And I was so confused. And I remember asking like somebody, like, because yeah, we went to the college, and then some girls like, oh, like I'll help you, and then. And she waited till everybody got out. Like I respect her for that till this day. She waited for everybody to come out. She's like, "I'll help you when everyone leaves." I'm like, "Okay." And then she's like, oh, it's because do you have like a work permit, do you have like a green card? And then I was like, oh, I have a work permit. She's like, okay, like you need to bring that back so we can enter that because it's counting you as an out-of-state student, so it's charging you
like
for
an
that
international student.
so it's counting you as that.
Yeah.
And that's when I think everything kind of sinked in for me, where I was like, whoa, like this is like real life and this is like a real thing. So then I was just like, that's crazy, you know, like I have to take extra steps and extra things
Than my
to
peers.
then to be able to keep moving forward. And so that was one of the things I think after starting to work, and I'm like, I started seeing money, you know, and income. And so I stopped going to school. um I wish I would have been able to stay at school, but it was just too much money. Like it's too much money,
and also I think that school isn't for everyone. I think that you can totally find your career path like a totally different way. It doesn't have to, I think if you are doing anything in STEM, I think that you kind of have to go to school because it is like STEM and stuff.
And I mean, if you're even privileged enough to go to school, then go ahead and take advantage of it. But if you know, like, there's this isn't for me, then honestly, just don't do it. Like,
yeah,
don't take it away from people that do want to do it. You know, I think for a long time I was like, oh, school's not for me, da da da. And I think in my head, I just played it out to be that. Why? Because I know that I couldn't afford it. My parents, maybe I could afford it, but it's also like I grew up in a household where it was very like you need to pitch in for this, and that. So I was like, I can't do all that plus pay school by myself, and I don't think my parents also understood the like college
Yeah.
thing, and like so I
Especially
just
since you're the oldest.
yeah, so I don't think they understood that, so I just let school go. I started working. I was for that company for like 3 years, and I remember I was so over it. Like I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. Like I'm here every single day for 12 hours a day. Like what am I doing? Dude, I was 18. I was 18, 19, 20, 21. I was turning 22. Well shit, so I was like there for like 4 years. And so then I went to this other job, and that's when I got humbled once again, right? I think at that time there was like a hurricane. I don't know which one it was. A natural disaster. I don't know where, honestly. I don't remember. And they were paying, I think at that time, they were paying like $22. So I applied. But you had to do a whole test, like make sure that you were fit for the job. I remember applying, and they're like, okay, it was like rounds of interviews.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember passing all of them. They're like, all right, cool, you're hired. Let's get your fingerprints. Because it was like a state job, federal job, I don't know what it was considered. So they needed fingerprints. I remember going to my fingerprints, and then they're like, "Oh, you're not like a citizen, huh?" I'm like, "No, I have a work permit though." She's like, "Oh no, like you have to be a citizen."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "I'm so sorry, Mija. Like, I'm gonna keep your file because I do have other jobs that are opening that you will be qualified
And
for."
you don't require
Yeah,
it.
and then
Mm-hmm.
dude, like I just remember like I wanted to cry because I don't know if I just felt like I don't even know, not embarrassed, but I felt like
It is kind of, it is
wow,
this like
like
feeling of like, dang.
yeah, like I was just like,
Like almost, I think it's like
okay.
a disappointment.
Like how the fuck do I even walk away? Like that's so weird, dude. So then I was just like I remember I just like walked away, and I was like, okay, cool, like that's when I was like, damn, this is the thing. Like, even though I have a work permit, it's not just gonna come easy to me. Like, I have. So I remember I called my dad, and because my dad has always been my comfort. So I called him, and then I was like, oh, this happened. Like, they said no to me because, like, I don't have, like, I'm not a citizen. And then I just remember there was, like, quiet on the phone. He's like, I'm sorry, like,
And I'm sure
like,
that's also like hard for him
yeah,
because
and to this
like
day, I'm like, why did I call him? He was like,
even
what the
it's
heck?
like, well, there's nothing that I can do
Yeah.
to comfort you because
Same, because
relate.
same, yeah.
Hashtag relatable.
Yeah, and I remember he was just like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like, it's okay. Like, we just push forward. We find something else. Like, I'm sorry." Like, I just remember him saying, "I'm sorry," and then I was just like, "Damn, like, fuck. Like, it's really gonna be like that."
Yeah.
And then after that, they called me back from that same place, and they offered me something else. I took it because obviously they were paying me more, and I think ever since, like, I've just had such a hustle for just growing and growing, like moving up a ladder, like not staying and not being like comfortable anywhere, like just moving up. And it hasn't been easy, but also like when I have come across people that are like, I can't find a job, or like I can't do this, I'm like, dude, like
And I
if you
know
can lie,
and
if you
this
can
is
lie
like,
to your man, if you can figure out how to track your boyfriend down and do like dumb shit, you can figure out how to find a job. You can lie on your resume, like everybody has done it. Like this is no like new news. Like everybody has lied on their resume. Figure it out. If I have figured it out, and I'm not saying I have the
limitations.
best job on earth, but
Yeah.
I think I'm doing great for myself. I think I'm doing really good for myself. I have maintained a wonderful relationship with like a lot of people that I know and have worked with. And I think I'm a hardworking woman, and it's not even to be cocky. I say it for both of us. I've
Yeah.
worked with my sister before. I think we're great
Yes.
workers. I
Yeah.
think
Our work at I think
hustlers.
our work ethic is very good, and I think that any interview that I have gone into, because they always ask you that question, why would you be a valuable employee? And I think I can confidently say that my work ethic is really good. And
Not to like toot our own horn, but I just think like our work ethic is, we hold it at a high standard because we know what we have and we know what we can lose. Um, I think 2 years ago when we filed our work permit, it was just crazy, like, um, people say we look alike. I don't know if we do. I don't see it.
We don't. I mean, I think that's
But
because we're
everybody
sisters.
says we look alike. We're not twins.
We are not.
I think we've said it, but we're not twins.
Twins.
I am older than her, and so we go to the
In
same.
case y'all thought I was older.
She's not. But we went to do our work permit, and
and that time I do think we didn't go at the same time.
We didn't.
And usually we always go together. But I think that time our dates, for some reason, our dates started like to change. And so, because yeah.
One thing about that too, guys, is like a work permit doesn't mean that
exactly 2 years.
And not just that, it doesn't every 2 years doesn't mean exactly that you are guaranteed to be approved every 2 years. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be exactly 2 years. Sometimes they do take away like 3 months from your work permit.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, you only have a year and like
a few months,
8 months.
Yeah.
And it's not a full 2 years. So I think my reasoning of making this is so people understand that if you do have, I don't know, like, please just, I guess, be kind to everybody. Like, you just truly don't know.
And I think that just goes to say for like everything, like, I think people forget to be mindful of what like others are going through, like, and just mindful of everyone's situation. I understand that people's lives could be hard, but just because your life is hard and difficult and you're going through things does not mean that the people around you are not going through things.
And I think also it's like for me, we've always had 2 jobs. I think that's what this stems from.
Yeah.
Like that we've always been working. Always, always, right? And I've me personally have gotten comments being like, why do you work so much?
Yeah.
Why are you working so much? Like for what? And it's like, first, like, what do you mean for what? Like that's weird. Like, and second of all, it's like you don't know me. You don't know people like that. You don't know the reasoning. I feel, which also I do understand that it can be like not a toxic way, but like a bad way of thinking. Like, okay, like I need to work because I have this, But it's also like, damn, like, if why not? Like, why not work, I am very, very grateful of my work permit and I want to take advantage of it because you just never know. Every other year, they literally say, we're taking it away. Every other year, they like come up with something like, oh, we're gonna do this. Like it's now illegal, they're charging more.
It's, it's
like they're always trying to take it away.
It's against the law, and why do we actually need it? And I think that people like, and not just that, I think that people forget like the kinds of people that do have work permits. There's doctors, lawyers, and nurses, police officers. I don't know if military people also do, but there's people who are actually like, I mean, yes, our jobs are really good, but there's like people who are doing like super important jobs, like being doctors saving and lives, lawyers, dude. Like these people like are doing so much good in the world, right? And
for the community.
I couldn't even fathom like being a doctor and then worrying about that on top of like everything, or like being a nurse. Like I think hot take, but I think nurses do a lot of like the heavy lifting for doctors. So I could not imagine being like a nurse and then having to worry about that.
Yeah, imagine them being like, yeah, sorry, like your work is expired. Yeah, like, we can't help you no more. Like,
and it's kind of like, and it's especially crazy. With those jobs, a lot of the time they are not really lenient on when you can work and when you like have to stop working. Like I know like for our jobs they did give us a little bit of grace, especially with what happened last time,
which we'll go into right now.
And like because like so that time that Jen was talking about, and I always say everything happens for a reason, and I think that time was like
definitely God saved me that time.
It was like things were working in our favor that time, even though we didn't see it at the time. So like they always say that me and Jen look the same, and for some reason that time we individually went, and I think it was because our work schedules.
She had to go first.
Yeah, and
so she went, and then I went maybe like 2-3 weeks, a month. I think a month later. Yeah.
And we have usually the person that we go with, like she has all of our stuff in file, and once you renew things, you don't really have to go through all the whole process. After
COVID, I don't think we had to do fingerprints for a while.
No, but that was before COVID, remember? Because that's why everything happened. Like so I went first, and then Jen went, and she got our papers mixed up.
So she submitted
she
my
submitted
stuff.
her stuff, and then she submitted my stuff.
Because that time it was weird too, because everything was so fast, like paperwork wise,
was
like
coming by really quickly.
Because I got like an approval letter.
Yeah, and then I was like,
I haven't even gone.
And then I was like, that is so strange. Like, and because no, your appointment for your fingerprints came in, and I was just like, and they told her that they accepted her work permit. I was like, that's really weird. And then I was like, I haven't gotten mine. How did you already get yours? And we went together. And then she says, oh my God, I filed them incorrectly. And she says, I filed Jen's first and I need to file yours.
And so by the way, time frame for this like is very crucial. So like you need to do, at least for us, right? We've done it 3 months ahead always. Max 4.
Yeah, because you just
I usually
don't know,
do 4.
like,
you
how
never know how long
slow
it can take.
Everything is gonna take.
If you do it like a month before, like usually it takes longer. So that means. And by the way, some workplaces, if your work permit's expired, that's your last day of work.
Yeah.
I don't think no one realizes that. I don't think people who aren't in this situation know that that's how crucial it is, that you have to, if that's your last day on that work permit,
that's your last day of employment.
Honey, but that's your last day of employment. Let me know when you get it again.
And then maybe you can come back.
You guys, because, okay, let me just finish this statement. Once that last day on your work permit, that's your last day of employment. Some employments will give you, employers will be like, you know what, this is your last day because obviously your DACA, your work permit is expired, but I'm gonna do like a leave of absence for I think 90 days, and then hopefully it comes by then and you just come back, right?
And if it doesn't, then there's shit out of luck.
Yeah, some places give you that grace, right? Other places don't. Other places do not care and do not understand what a work permit is. They don't give a fuck. They do not care. They're like, oh, sorry, sucks, bye. They don't care.
Well, we're gonna post your job,
which is infuriating to me. And to me, I'm literally gonna cry because I'm so mad. It's like degrading, and it's like you can't do anything.
Yeah, because your hands are tied. Like you really can't do anything.
Sit back. And I'm telling you guys from experience, like, and I'm not saying that this job was like the best job, but I've always had 2 jobs. I had a retail job, and I don't care to call them out. But I did work at Aerie, and the manager there, it really, really, really showed me like how uneducated people are.
And it also makes you question like how, like, do you not have some compassion and humanity in you? Like, is that the kind of person that you are? Because like, and maybe I'll talk about this later about like my current job, like seeing the way that they handle things.
This happened at the same time, by the way. It was like around the same time.
Oh yeah, it was at the same time. So the contrast between our jobs, that like how they handled the situation, I think it was completely very different.
So like my job, right? She told me, you have to turn in your work permit, whatever.
Maybe we should go back to the first time, what we were just talking about.
Which one?
About when they switched up our things.
Oh yeah, we never finished that.
So they switched up our things, right? Okay. So
this is us yapping and never finishing a thought.
Your train is derailing and putting them back on the tracks. And so she finally got my papers in, and she got all my application in, and she's just like, I'm so sorry about that. Like, that shouldn't have happened. She says, it's just literally your information is basically almost the same.
And I was mad.
She was fuming.
Why? Because it wasn't my time to do my work permit. So I literally lost like a good 5 months.
Yeah, and so I was like, listen, I know it's really, really hard to see it right now, but everything happens for a reason, and we don't know why this happened. And I can't tell you because I can't tell the future, but I just have a feeling that it's for something. I don't know what it is, but you just never know, And then COVID starts. And then they say, guess what? We are not taking any renewals or new applications. And if Jen would have waited, she wouldn't have been able to renew her application. And
it was just perfect. Like, and it played out perfectly.
And so I told her, I was like, listen, like, this is why it happened, you know. I was like, could you have imagined if
Thank
you would have
God we look alike.
yeah.
At that time.
And then I was like, you know, could you imagine if you would have waited? You wouldn't have been able to renew it, and God knows what would have happened, you know.
And they've done that where it's like, okay, stopping, you can't renew,
and
you
it's
know.
like with like COVID and everything, because no one knew what was going to happen, right? No one had a magic ball to know what was going to happen. And so then, so yeah, I was like, you know, we were glad that maybe not at the time, but later I was like, listen,
thank God
this is what happened, you know, like.
Yeah.
And so now this time around, we had to renew it, and this is all after COVID, okay?
Yeah.
And
this was a few months ago.
And we all know that, like, well, I don't think we all know, but COVID has changed the way that government facilities work. Now, especially at the time, there was a government shutdown when we were renewing this last time. So with government shutdowns, things go even more slower. And I think unless you have to work with the government in this kind of fashion, then you really won't understand.
And I don't think no one has really, like, I don't think people realize what it is to work with the government. Like, it's,
and I don't mean like, yeah, like you, like,
no, I'm not working for them, but like,
you have to deal with them, literally.
Yes.
And
it's complicated.
It's like, it's so infuriating. And people who are citizens be lucky that the only thing you have to deal with is the DMV, because the DMV,
and you're lucky to be waiting there and know that you're gonna get your stuff.
The DMV is a breeze compared to when you have to deal with them in this like way, you know. And so this last time, we always do it, like we said, 3 or 4 months in advance.
After that time where they messed up our work permits, we're on this track, on the same track.
Yeah,
we're on the same kind
like
of, we're
schedule,
off by
basically.
like a month.
Yeah.
So
and so now we're just like, okay, we'll just go do it at the same time, because that way we will also ensure.
So that last time where they confused our stuff, I did lose 5 months. I was infuriated by the 5 months, because maybe to some people it doesn't mean anything, but to me it's like I could have been employed for 5 more months, you know. Like, and that's my income. I pride myself in being able to provide for me, because that's another thing. I love to work and I enjoy working. Why? Because I provide for myself. I've never ever been like, Mom, Dad, like, fuck, like I can't do this, you know. Like, I think that's my pride right now, and that's my ego, you know. And what is it, ego? My pride, yeah, right? Like, because I'm like, I never want to rely on them. Like, I have a work
you
want
to be self-sustaining.
Yeah, I have a work permit sometimes that they don't have, that they never had, but they figured it out. So why can I with not this, with the work permit, you know? So I think like a lot of my thoughts and a lot of my way of thinking and the way I carry myself comes from that. So when people question me, why do you work so much? Why do you this? Why are you killing yourself working? It's like, dude, you don't know why, you know. You are a U.S. citizen. You can go apply for freaking unemployment tomorrow if you feel
disability,
like it. I can't. I have to work, you know. And to be honest, I've been offered jobs that have been great. I can't take them. I'm just not a U.S. citizen. I can't take them, unfortunately. But in my head, I know I am well qualified for that. But I just, unfortunately, I can't, you know. And so that was that with like them mixing up our
and then so then this last time,
which was a few months ago.
Yeah, we went and because like we said, we're on the basically almost the same timeline. So we went together and we renewed it and stuff. And like I said, with the government and the government shutdown that was happening at the time, everything was going so slow. So, you know, we got our approval letter, and it did take a while. Even that, which was
so weird.
Because usually it doesn't take.
Yeah, we got our fingerprints, right? And then
because usually we know, like, so once you get your approval, you know, in a week or two you'll get your diagnostic appointment,
which means your
fingerprints, and then so then, you know, once you send that in, your work permit approval, if it did get approved, it takes like 3 weeks. And then after that, a week later, you will get your work permit. So in total, it kind of takes like 2 months almost for the process to finish. But this time, we were not getting our approval letter in the time frame that we were used to. And so we were just like, worried and stuff, you know, and you can go on the USCIS website, um, and you can check your case number
status, yeah.
And you can check the status of your application, and they tell you, we've received it, we have, like, you know, this is where you're at. And so time just kept going, and then it took a while for us to get our fingerprint appointment.
Notice, yeah.
And not even that, like, I was sent somewhere.
Completely
I was sent
different.
to LA County to go do my fingerprints, and she got to go to the location that we always go to,
which is based in Orange County. Yeah.
And so I was like, that already freaked me out.
And the only reason was because I had mine first, and we had it the same day. No,
we had it the same day.
The same day, but mine was early
in the
and
day.
hers was later in the day.
And
so
I never checked because I'm just like, you know, like, I know where I'm going because I'm always going there.
I remember checking mine, and
she called me.
Yeah, and I'm like, what time are you going? And then I'm like, oh no, because I'm a freak, guys. Like, I just freak over everything. So I was like, it's this address, right? Like, I want to make sure I'm going to the right one. Like, I'm freaking out. And she's like, no, that's wrong.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, but that's what my paper says. I sent her picture. She's like, no, mine's different. And then I'm like, oh, so then we got different locations. And then we
went, and
if I would have never brought it up to her, like, I would have me freaking out,
yeah.
she would have gone where we always go. And the thing about places like that, which, once again, if you've never been and you've never experienced it, you don't know, like, you can't just go in,
It's
baby.
not like going to return something at a Target.
It's like,
you can go to any
location.
Notice,
let me see what it says, and then you're, and I need 2 forms of ID, and then you're more than welcome to come in. But anyway, like, you know, like, so it's not just a place you can go to and be like, oh, like, it's because the other one's too far.
Yeah.
No. And I think, obviously, when it comes to things like that, you don't know, but now we know that she could have called and changed it to a closer location. They don't even know why they sent her all the way to LA. But now we know.
And then that's the thing too with this, is that they usually always send you to the closest location near your address, and we have the same address on our renewals and our forms and everything. So that's why it was so weird that they sent me somewhere else. Point is, I was just so livid, and I had to go all the way to LA County, and
which was, these places aren't in a cute little, it's not a cute office building that's like, you know, you would think. No, it's like a random spot next to a liquor, like, you would never know.
It's crazy. And so I went, and there is no one there except for the employees, right? And so they went super quick. It took like less than 10 minutes to do everything.
We took longer to get there than for the actual thing.
Yeah. And so, I had asked the woman working there, I said, you know, why did they send me here if they usually would send me over there? She's just like, oh, you could have called and, like, changed it, or said, hey, this is too far, I'm just going to go to the other one. And I said, nowhere on this form does it say that I can do that. And she says, yeah, they've just changed a law after COVID. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And so then I did my fingerprints and everything, and it's so crazy because then I was just like, wow, this process is so fast. Like, it's usually never this quick. And she says, yeah, over here we work really quick. And I think she jinxed everything by saying that. And so I did my whole thing, and then now we're done with that, and you just have to wait. You have to wait for your approval letter to come in. And I waited. I waited a long time.
And I'm telling you that when whatever your work permit says, if it says today, girl, that's your last day.
And then, like, at my job, with the system that we use for payroll, it gives you it sends out an email to your personal email and your work email. So they let you know, like, hey, just your FYI, your work permit is expired. So you might want to update it.
Receiving that email at work too, it's like constantly.
Yeah.
It's constantly.
And they would send it to me at least once a week.
Yeah.
And then, so, you know,
which I'm pretty sure if you guys are citizens, you guys don't be getting emails like, you might,
girl, you gotta update this.
Yeah, like, mama. You know,
like, no.
It's just crazy.
You
like,
just go about your work day.
Yeah.
And so, with mine, Jen got hers before me.
Yeah, I got
like
mine
a month before.
I got mine like 2 weeks before. 2 weeks before mine was gonna expire. So I felt such a relief, but then I still felt so much anxiety for my sister, right? Because I'm like, dude, like, what the heck? Like,
yeah, and then I was like,
you know?
we literally, and then that's the thing too. It's like, I was like, we did our whole appointment on the same day. So why is this taking so different? Like, what's taking so long? And then I was like, oh my God, maybe it's because I did it somewhere else. Maybe that's why it's taking a long time. And then my HR person calls me and she says, hey, I just want to have a very quick meeting with you. And I'm like, I already know what this is about. Like, I'm not gonna be like, I don't know what's happening, you know?
But it still gives you so much anxiety
Yeah, and
because
so,
you have no control over situations like that.
and I didn't
And
know what they were gonna tell
by
me.
the way, to get to the to the immigration, somebody to answer, good
It,
luck with that.
no, oh my God, that
Good luck
is
with
a
that. If
conversation
you think
that I will talk
reaching the
about all day.
DMV, the IRS is hard,
I think it's probably easier to connect with President Biden than it would be with the USCIS
it's
office.
complicated. And
Literally.
I understand because I know we're going like off track, but you guys, I don't think you guys realize this is so hard and so complicated.
Convoluted.
And I know some people make it out to seem like, oh, no, nonchalant. I know there's people that go to the free programs to get it paid for them, and good for them. Like, people have been like, hey, go here, it's free.
Yeah.
But I don't have it in me to go to a free place.
It's just like the trust thing and
Yeah,
like,
I'm like, I'd rather pay for it knowing that I'm paying somebody to
yeah.
get it done for me, you know?
And I can like I don't
Have
know,
that
it's just like there's
reassurance,
that
I guess.
reassurance for
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
And then there's people that do it on their own. Dude,
Oh my
good
God,
for
I would
you.
never
Great
do
for
it on
you.
my own. Yeah. That's
I
like
could
people who do
never.
taxes on their
Yeah,
own.
I can
That's
never. I
scary.
cannot do that. So it's
Yeah.
like, I know there's people that do that. I know there's people that have found ways for school to get grants,
And then that's so cool.
all
Like
that
our local
stuff.
community college does that,
Yeah,
and I think
good,
that's really cool.
great for you guys. Maybe because I was the oldest, I didn't have that knowledge. I didn't have nobody to reach out to and be like, how can I get more money so I can afford school? You know, I didn't have I didn't have the resources, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, like, I know there's ways for everybody, but like, I was the oldest. I don't know, you know, and this is all I could do for myself. Even like the other day, my boss was like, oh, you know, like, you can be a notary, da da da, like, we'll pay for your stuff. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm not a US resident, citizen, nothing. And then he's like, oh, I'm sorry, you have to be like a citizen
Yeah.
to be a notary. And I was like, ah, cool.
Yeah, I
And you know,
got told that at
it's
one of
like
my jobs too. Yeah.
opportunities like that dude, people who know that I'm capable of doing, people know that I can do it, but
But
it's like I
unfortunately, that's just not
can't
an
do
option.
it
Yeah.
because of my status. But I just wanted to throw that out there too, you know, like, just, maybe to you it might sound so dramatic, but to us it means something, and it's our reality. You know, I don't think a lot of people that are in our shoes know how hard it can be, or how much of a luxury it is to
And
be
I
able to
also
work.
I think people saying like, "Oh, it's gonna be okay." Oh my God, it's like you. That's the thing, though. I do not know if it's gonna be okay. Like
Yeah,
I just like don't know,
because you're not
and
for sure that you're gonna
yeah,
get.
and that's exactly what I was thinking. Well, like this last time that I renewed, I was like, oh my God, what if I? So I was like, okay, I have to like sit down and like make my own plans and like figure out what I'm gonna have to do if I'm not gonna be able to work. You know, like what are my next steps?
I think this last time of us renewing our work permit, it I think it humbled both of us in a certain way. Like, for me, before, because hers is a little bit longer of what happened,
Yeah.
but for me, I was working at Aerie. It's a retail store. Um, so I just think, you know, like, the management there, I was the lead, and then I had to step down because I have my job. Like, I call it my real job versus my fun job always. So I have my job from my 9 to 5, and I would go on during the week for like 3 hours during the week, and then on the weekends. But I just didn't think it was fair. There was a lot I wasn't getting paid, which minimum wage, but still. Then I realized people were getting paid more, and I'm like, but I'm a lead. Like, I had to
Yeah, the
step.
position like
Yeah,
was
it wasn't
like
adding up. So,
wasn't
and then
making
also
sense.
for my mental and physical health, it was just not cutting it. So I was like, I need to step down. So I stepped down to the manager. I'm stepping down. Like, it's not worth it for me. Da da da. Maybe like a couple months later, that's when I had to renew my work permit. She stopped scheduling me, and I was like, okay, so you're only gonna schedule me one day. Like, it's not even worth it. So then I had a conversation with her. I even talked to like someone higher than her. I'm that person.
I will go to
I
HR.
need to go to a higher person
Yeah.
because I just feel like some managers don't cut it. Like, I'm not gonna lie. So I've never had a problem with doing that because I'm being honest. I'm not telling on nobody. I'm not being a bitch, if that's what you want to think. Like, I'm not being that, So then I did all that, no change. And then after my work permit came, right, she's like, oh, well, like, I need your work permit. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. That was a whole ordeal where she told another employee, like, can you tell Jenny that she needs to turn in her work permit? First of all, I don't appreciate you telling other people about my
But also,
status.
she's not supposed to be going and telling
And it's
everyone
just
else
like,
or
okay,
anyone
so that
else.
happened, right? So then I stopped seeing my name on the schedule. And she's like, oh, well, like, I don't know what's going on. I call her. She's like, oh, well, I don't know what's happening. Here's HR's number. You can call them. I call them. They're like, she should know what to do. I call her back. She's like, oh, yeah, I'm already working on that. So why'd you make me call them?
Yeah. Or pretend like you didn't know
Yeah.
what
So then
was.
after that, she, like, I need to call you back till Monday. And then she's like, oh, well, looks like you got let go because of your work permit. And in my head, I'm like, but I know that I have a 90-day grace period. Like, I had my work permit already. It was valid.
Yeah.
By the way, it was already approved. So I'm like, my work permit is valid. You just need to update it.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I don't know. Like, it to
She
me,
like almost, she basically stalled
yeah.
so she can have a reason to let you go.
So my thing was like, you can't even try. Like,
Yeah.
you can't even try to figure out how to help me. Like, it just felt so like degrading, and I felt I, I don't let people get to me. I really don't. But that time I was like, whoa, like, she doesn't want to help me, and there's nothing that I can do.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I was just so I don't even know how to explain the feeling.
Livid.
I don't know how to explain the feeling I felt. And then after her telling, after that, finding out that she told other
Employees.
employees about my status and like what the situation was, it just threw me off. And I honestly like lost so much respect for that person, because I was like, how disgusting are you? Like, how disgusting are you for you to like not even try to help me? And not just that, then just kind of like pick at it and think it's funny, like kind of like haha, like, not my problem. And it's just like, but then in my head, oh sure, sorry, in my head I was like, why am I mad at her? Like, this person clearly doesn't know any better. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a lot of people are so uneducated,
They're
and they do
ignorant.
not
Yeah.
know what it means to us, because they're sitting on such a luxurious spot, like where they don't have to worry
Like a
about things
privilege.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, where they're so privileged. And after that, I'm like, you know what? I felt like that's okay. I had to let go of that place. Like,
Things
it meant
happen
a
for a
lot.
reason.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
meant a lot to me, just because I met so many wonderful girls there. But other than that, like, that person, like, I can't even like think of seeing them, because I'm just like, how? I just hope you never go through a time where you
Like a
feel
hardship. Yeah.
degraded, like, and when it's out of your control. But whatever, like, I can't really say anything else, because the less I
Hashtag let
say,
go and let God.
yeah, the less I say, the better.
Mm.
And I'm just trying to keep it nice and cordial. But that was that.
Period.
And I think it's times like that where it's like, you when you're on a work permit, DACA, when you're on a work permit, you do get stuck in situations like that where it's kind of like, fuck, well.
Unfortunately, like your hands are really tied, and there's like absolutely nothing you can do but wait.
And while all this is happening, she's going through
My
something
own
even
thing.
worse.
So I called onto the HR office, and she tells me, hey, like, I know that your work permit is going to expire soon, and she says, like, do you have it? Can you bring it in? Like, what's the status of it? And I said, well, I renewed it, and I already went to go do my appointment, and there's literally nothing else I have to do but wait for my approval and for my actual permit to come in. And she says, okay, that's fine. Like, you still have, I think I still had like 3 weeks maybe,
They gave you 30 days, I
or
think.
like, yeah, a month. And she says, like, she says, well, as long as you bring it in, she's like, yeah. Or she told me, just bring in anything that like validates what you're saying. And I said, well, I could bring you like my appointment letter, and it has like a stamp and everything and whatever. And then I also went on the website and I took a screenshot, and it literally said since like October something, you there's like everything is fine, nothing
You're
is
pending.
pending, and
Just your
just
approval
wait for
screen.
your approval. And so I was like, okay. And I was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and nothing was coming in the mail. Like,
And then her expiration date came
yeah, and so it expired, and then she called me in again, and she says, hey, like, it expires like in a few days, do you have it? I said, no, I don't. And like I called, and calling was so annoying. Like, it was just so annoying. Like, it's a robot, it's like an AI person. And so I hate that anyone is switching to AI because it's just so, I don't cuss, but it's so fucking annoying. Like, it is actually, I have never been so mad before where I've wanted to throw my phone on the floor, and like, it just, because I was just so annoyed. So I call this stupid robot AI thing, and it's like, give me your case number. And I was like, okay. I type it. It's like, I didn't understand what you were saying. Say it again. And so then I say it, and it's like, I don't understand what you're saying. And then it's like, what do you want help with? And then it only gives you like 4 options. And I'm like, none of these options are what I want. And so it was just like, I just went through every single option to see what would happen. And it's just like, what you want is not something I can help you with. You're going to have to just go online and figure it out. I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I don't know what to do because none of the options are what I want. So I was like, I can't be the only one dealing with this. So I went on trusty Google and I Googled, how do I get to talk to a live representative? Because no matter what I would say, it would not give me a live representative. Like, it just says, like, for what you want, there's no live representative. And then I was like, but I'm talking through all the options. How can there not be a live representative? Like, this doesn't make sense. So I went on
So
Google.
life hack. What's the life hack?
So I went on Google and I found this lawyer, and he does like YouTube videos for like immigrant like cases and stuff. And he's like, I forgot now what he says to do. I will look it up and maybe we can put it in the comments or something. And he said, you have to say this. He's like, no matter what you want or need, you have to say this specific thing and you'll get there. So he's like, so you're gonna say this, and then blah 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 blah, and then it's gonna ask you this question, and you have to answer like this, and then it'll tell you, I'm gonna connect you with a live representative. So I was like, okay, I hope this works. And so then I go, and then I say what the guy told me to say, and then it finally connects me to a live representative. And like, because before this, like, my work permit was already expired, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna keep on working until they tell me I can't no more.
Her job was so,
and
dude, they gave
they
her that
said,
grace.
yeah, they said, like, the last thing that we want to do is like for you to be unemployed. And so they said, we have this letter, and
we'll hold on to it as like
a placeholder, yeah, and until they tell us anything else. Because at first they did tell them, like, okay, this placeholder will do until she gets her new work permit. And I said, okay. So we were fine. But then they come back a few weeks later, like when my work permit had already expired, and I was still working for like, I think like a month with my expired work permit. And then they told my HR person, like, hey, this has been expired. We need something else. We can no longer use this placeholder. We need something more like solidified that says that she is gonna have it soon. And so that's why I had to call, and I was just so annoyed. And they're like, if you don't have it by today, basically,
unfortunate, but they had already let her work for like a good month, like, yeah.
And so, and I was just like, okay, like, I was so grateful for that. And I said, I completely understand, but it still sucks the fact that you're telling me this. And so I was just like so annoyed. And that's when I called the robot thing. And I finally got connected to someone. And then they said, oh, it's been approved already.
Yes.
I was like, why? And then I said, since when has it been approved? And she says, oh, it was approved like 5 days ago.
But it also takes a long time for them to give it to you in mail because you need to get that approval letter, right?
No, I think they had said they approved it a week ago. And then I said, okay, well then have they sent out the approval letter? And she says, yeah, they sent it out 2 days ago, I think. And then so I was like, okay, it should be in the mail sometime this week, and I should get it then. And so I hang up and I say, okay, well, there's literally nothing else I could do. It's in the mail somewhere. And then I call my HR person and I say, hey, they just let me know that it's been approved. And she's like, well, do you have the approval letter? And I was like, no, I don't have it. Like, they said that they just sent in the mail, so I'm gonna have to wait. And she says, like, I need that. She says, like, they can't take a screenshot of like the website saying it's been approved. They need the actual letter. And I was like, well, I don't have it, And then I got called into my supervisor's office and she told me, and that is when I broke down, because everyone that I work with is just so amazing, and they're so, like, I've never seen humanity in a work environment like I do at my current job. She called me in and she says, hey, I know what's going on. I'm gonna cry now. And she says,
no, because it's that, like, it's even that, like, that she understood and she gave
yeah,
you that, like, hey, like a reassurance, like, hey, it's
yeah, and
not you,
she told
it's
me,
your, it's
like,
just
she's
what it
like,
is,
she's like,
know.
I know that there's literally nothing that
Yeah,
you can do.
but it's maybe like this woman that I had as a
Yeah,
manager that didn't even feel sympathetic towards my
yeah,
situation, where she wasn't even like, hey, Jan, like, this is what's going on, but this is what we can do,
do,
you
yeah,
know. She didn't do that.
yeah.
Instead, what she did, I felt like she
She
just
was
got
kind of
me
just like,
and she's
oh,
like, let
I
me
don't know
just,
what to do. But even though she knew what to do,
not even,
and
even if she didn't know, she didn't
like,
seem like
ask,
empathetic,
yeah,
like, let me try to figure it out, let
yeah.
me try to do something for
Let
you.
me get with someone who
Because,
might know.
yeah, but you know what,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, I'm like, there's just people like that,
yeah.
and I can
Sadly,
use worse words to
describe her.
describe people like her, but I won't, because I won't. But anyway, yeah, she called you into the office.
So she called me into her office, and then she's like, "Hey, I know what's going on." She's like, she's like, "That's why I came in today." She says, I talked to our HR person, and she was kind of telling me, and she's like, "And I came in simply because, I just want to make sure you're okay." She says, "And if you need to go home right now to figure anything out," she's like, "or just to simply, she's like, because you don't have to be dealing with work right now." She says, you can go home and finish your day. And I immediately,
They
as soon,
even gave her the option to finish her day, dude. Usually
yeah,
workplaces are
like,
like,
you just have to
this
go.
is it. I'm sorry, you gotta go.
And so when she told me that, I as soon as she said that, I started crying. And she's like, honey, please don't cry because you're gonna make me cry. And then I cried a little bit more because it was just like, and I was like, I'm so
Such a
sorry, like,
defeating
and yeah, and then I was like,
feeling.
I'm so sorry, but like, there's literally nothing I can do, and I think that's what I'm frustrated about. I said, I'm not crying because I'm sad. I'm crying because I'm frustrated and angry with something that has nothing to do with me. I mean, like, I can't control this, and that's what
Yeah.
makes me mad, and that's why I'm crying. And she's like, I know, and I understand, and it's okay. And she's like, okay. She says, and I said, well, I just, like, I'll just
But
go back to my desk. I
then,
was like, I'll just go back to my desk, and I'll give me 5 minutes, and I'll let you know. And she says, okay, honey, like, just go to your desk, and then you'll just let me know. And then I go to my desk, and I'm sitting there, and I'm gathering myself, and then my mom calls, and then I'm like, oh my god. And so I pick up, because usually my mom doesn't call me at
mhm.
work. So I pick up, and then my mom says, something came in the mail for you, and it has your name, and it looks like maybe it's your approval notice. She says, because it says USCIS, and that's usually
Yeah.
for DACA. And I was
Even
like,
our parents know what those papers look like.
Mom, open the paper right now.
Hmm.
So my mom, she's opens the letter, and then she says, yes, it says that
You've been approved.
you've been approved. I was like, Mom, hold my freaking letter. I'm coming right now. And so I go, and then I teams my supervisor, and I said, hey,
Letters here,
I'm like,
running to get
my
it.
letter has arrived. Can I go pick it up right now? And she says, go if you need to, And then I was like, okay. I call my boyfriend. I'm like, can you come take me to my house so I can go get my approval notice? And he's just like, oh my god, it came. And even he was excited. And so we came to my house, and we picked it up, and I told my mom, and then I started crying, and then she's like, it's okay, you're fine. And I'm like, okay, well, I have to go back to work now. And so I went back to work. They took a copy of the approval notice and everything, and then I gave it to the HR person, and she said, I'm gonna send this email out, and then we'll just wait for them. They should reply soon, and I'll let you know if everything is okay. So I was like, okay. And then I just went back to my desk, and I was waiting and waiting and waiting. And then she tells me, hey, everything is okay, and they're gonna take this because it says that you've been approved, and it has like all your
Yeah.
information. and just when your card comes in, just let me know. And then she says, and we'll just update that as well. And then I was just like, okay. And the weight that lifted me off my shoulders, I did genuinely feel like I could fly, because that's just how like lighter I felt. And I was like, okay, like, now I can just continue with life.
Yeah, because it does take a toll on you, and it does make you feel this amount of pressure, anxiety, like all these like mixed emotions, because you just don't know what's gonna happen. And you do come across people that can come off racist, that can come off like out of touch, and that don't really care and don't care to know. And
Or be educated
yeah, and
about
I
it.
think like I know this video wasn't very educational into what it really is, but it is just like our own personal
And I
experience.
think it's a lot better to hear from someone's experience
Yeah.
rather than tell you like
And I
the
mean,
details
we're
about it.
definitely we're down to tell you guys like the specifics of what it is and everything. But this is just like our journey with it. And I think it's just so people know that it's not that easy, I guess. And as women trying to pave their own way and figure out their stuff and make something out of themselves, it's not easy. It's not easy to just, we don't have this luxury of knowing
And
what
it's
two
also
years
like
holds.
your goals. I think that that's one of the things that we've talked about. Our goals have like a 2 year span, right?
Yeah.
We can't be like, that's why I think why I always struggle with that question when they ask you, what do you want to do in 5 years? I'm like, well, I kind of can only really have a lot of faith in my 2 year plan or like 1 year and 8 month plan.
Yeah.
I have goals for
And then
that, and I
also,
have to reach them by then.
sorry.
Just like
And
this,
then
I'm bored.
and then also people are like, why don't you just marry? Why don't you just I don't I and that's a whole nother topic. Me personally, I'm not trying to marry somebody so I can benefit out of that.
Or just to, like, the thing is like, oh, I'm just gonna marry
I'm
you
not gonna do
to
that.
have citizenship. Like, that's also because then I would always question, like,
And people are like, what, they love you? That's just not my way of thinking. And
but if like
marriage to
but if you're
me,
like
yeah,
sole reason, like if the one reason why you're like, I'm getting married is because they want me to be here, then I know that I would always be like,
I wouldn't
is
want
that
that.
the only reason why? You know, like, what if,
Marriage is more than that.
yeah, like,
So
that's, if that's the pillar of our marriage, then
I don't thank you.
yeah, because then
But
it's like, well, yeah,
I know we kind of were all over the place and stuff.
I had to put
Uh,
you on your
oh,
tracks.
she did. But I know, like, it's just a lot. And I think we've gone through a lot of things, experienced a lot of things with our work permit, a lot of hardships, a lot of anxiety.
We
Like,
have to give up dreams.
yeah,
Like, I
like,
wanted to be because I would watch the Food Network all the time when I was
no, I'm
younger. And I remember I watched an episode with Cordon Bleu, and that's like a culinary school in Paris, France, I believe. And the things that they were learning there were just, I was like, I want to do that when I grow up. I want to go so bad. Like, that's my goal. And I was like, when I go to high school, I'm going to like, and I graduate and I'm going to go to college, and that's where I'm going to go. You know, like, I'm going to save money and I'm going to work hard and I'm going to go there. And then I realized, like,
I
oh,
can
that's
go
not
there.
something that I can do. So I was really sad that I had to give that up, because I was like, I want to bake croissants for a living, and I
Imagine.
want to go to Paris and eat French
Yeah.
bread and
It's
stuff.
just like a lot of
Realizations.
realization checks that we've had to go through, where it's kind of like you're just going, right? Just kind of like seeing the light, and then you just get like you have to stop your brakes and be like,
Yeah,
"Okay,
it is
let's
like a
be
very hard
realistic."
stop.
Yeah, it is. Like, a lot of the way I live my life has also been because of my work permit. Like, I can't I didn't go to a club until I was 23, because I'm like,
Yeah, where it's like,
sometimes we put ourselves in situations
yeah,
where not like saying that a club is bad, but like you never know, like
yeah.
you're out of party scene, everybody's drinking.
And we all know that this happens to
Yeah.
people who are citizens and people who are not. You know, like, you don't want to ever get caught in a
Or you don't
situation
want to be in the wrong
at the
place,
wrong place.
not the right place at the wrong time.
No, at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh, whatever.
I
Mood.
think.
And so you know what I'm saying. So I never ever put myself in situations like that. So when that's why I never went to a club. I never did no I've never done crazy stuff, because I'm like, no,
She's not crazy.
I have something, and people generally have this conception of me that
That
I'm
Jen
this
is
wild
crazy.
child.
She's not.
No, I'm really not. So then, like, I think maybe in another episode we can go more into depth of other things, but that it's a lot of reason why I do certain things, why I don't do certain things, because I'm like, I can't afford it. I cannot just be crazy and be caught being crazy.
I have had
and then
friends say like, let's just do this crazy thing. I'm like,
no, I have a work
you
permit.
go do the crazy thing.
I have something to lose, I think.
Yeah, and that's like, I can't gamble like that. Like, I
can't. But yeah, we're so fortunate to be able to have our work permit, and we're so grateful. We're blessed, and I'm so blessed to be able to have a job, to be able to work.
I was gonna say blessed, never stressed, but girl, the stress
Sometimes
is
it's a little stressful, but yeah, that's a little bit about us being on DACA. I know I was a little bit all over the place, but there's a lot of stuff that have happened with it. We've been on it for almost 10 years. Like, it's insane, like, basically, to even think of all the times of all the anxiety every 2 years. Like, it's crazy, but and 2 years is nothing. It really isn't. And I
really
hope
think
that
about it
there's
and
like,
look back,
yeah, I hope that there's hope for us in the future to be able to get
and I
something
think this is
more.
I
I
think
feel like we've worked hard for it. We deserve it. Just like people say, there's, oh, you guys are illegal, you guys are bad people. There's also people that are legal that are bad people. There's
I
bad
hate to
people
tell you, but a
everywhere.
lot of the serial killers, girl, they were citizens.
Regardless of serial killers, you see people selling food in the street, selling flowers, dude. There are people that, dude, the people on the fields, that's all our gente. Like, you cannot, I cannot picture a white man doing that.
I'm sorry, but when Kelly Osbourne said, if you kick all the immigrants in this country, who's gonna clean your toilets? Donald Trump? Oh, that's not. That's not what you. I mean, like, we knew where she was going, but wrong approach, Mama. I hate to tell you.
Like, dead ass,
you
could have said
something
the
else.
cleaning ladies in your office, let me know. Who are they? Like,
and it's like,
be
I've
nice.
said, like, yeah.
Being those ladies, like, there's a lady at my job that cleans the restrooms and stuff. Well, like, Mrs. I'm like, bien, you stay, like, there has been people in my office that have made some comments, and I'm just like, that is crazy, dude. That, like, it's just crazy how some people don't realize, like,
or that you look
struggle
at certain jobs and you're just like, ugh, like, no, if they stopped doing that job, you would have a different reaction. You would not feel comfortable going to the bathroom if no one went to go clean it, Mama. Like, there's every job is important, and like I have said, I think all of our jobs are like a clock, right? We're all
part of something big.
Like,
yeah,
everything needs to be going to be able for like society to keep going, like, yeah. So just don't be mindful of what you're saying and who you're saying it to, and how you're acting and how you're treating like service people. I know. But yeah,
well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tell us what you felt about this, what you guys would want to talk about.
If you have any questions about like DACA in general, put them down below. Maybe we can answer them.
And then maybe we will continue this topic.
And I hope that this kind of educated you to an extent. I think, because we didn't really talk about facts. But I think that this humanized, and I think that that's with any subject. I think with any big subject in this country,
because we can go on and on. Like,
I hope
people have told me, like, oh, you look like a fucking Juana, like, or you look like a Maria, like, and like, my
because that is my name.
My sister's name is Maria too. Yeah. But like,
too.
No, like your sister. Yeah. No, not my name is Maria.
Not you calling yourself.
But when people had made comments like that to me, or they're like, you look indigenous, like, I don't think. That's
not the comment that I think you think it is.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how much that can, like, not hurt me, but like, how that can make me feel. But that's another topic. Like I said, this is just a little bit about what we have been,
our own personal experience with
DACA. Yeah, it's not been easy. It's not been a smooth little road. It's been a little complicated here and there. There's years that's, but like, it's easier than
situation
others.
says, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. Period.
So please like, comment, share, and subscribe. We will see you guys on the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this one.
What will we talk about? Who knows?
Please show us stuff. Please show us some
love. We done a sister episode, like, where we've talked about,
maybe
like,
we can do that on the next one. Yeah.
See how crazy we are. What? Who's a wild child and who is the nerd?
Literally. Who do you guys think? Just comment down below. Who's a wild child? But I already kind of said that, but still. Who's a wild child? Who looks like the wild child and who looks like the little Santita vibes?
Not the Santita vibes. She goes to church every day.
I'm dead. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we will see you guys on the next episode. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye.
Bye.